Hello, in this video I will show you how to analyze a history download. Opening the history file is covered in detail under the Capturing History Data video, but I will show you again briefly. First, we must open the History Analysis tool by navigating to the Start menu, select EMP Tools, History Analysis tool. I'll navigate to File, Open Data File, select my desired .emphat file, and click Open. In this case, I'm going to select both system controllers and component controllers and click OK. Once opened, it will default to the header information, which includes the vehicle and site data you entered prior to capturing the history, along with software and calibration information of EMP's system and component controllers. In the top of this column, I can change the parameter names from short to long and engineering. And as you can see, this changes the description of the parameter names shown below. I'll select short again. And moving on to the diagnostics tab, if there's been any faults throughout this controller's operation, you will see them here. The top shows faults for the thermal management controller, the system controller in this case. This is a 3-fan mini hybrid engine cooling system. Here we can see a fault that occurred under fan number 1, a couple faults under fan number 2, and no diagnostics to report for fan number 3. Under events, depending on the system's calibration, we may be able to see some events that have occurred throughout the controller's life, such as number of button reverse requests. We can see this particular system has counted 120. Underneath active, we can see some component controller supply voltage and ignition voltage counts and durations. Within accumulators, again, calibration dependent, we may be able to see calculated data such as fuel consumption and calculated total vehicle distance traveled and at what rate. Here we can select our desired units of measure, which can also be configured under File Preferences. Further down the list, there will be histograms of cooling system and vehicle data available to view. Similar to what we saw up in the list in events, if the plot is not available to view, it will be grayed out as shown. For an example, I will select engine coolant temperature. The format of this plot is similar to the other histograms available to view. In this case, you can see the percentage of time that the coolant temperature has been within the values on the x-axis throughout the controller's life. I can choose my preferred unit of measure, and I can also view the data in hours of operation versus percentage. If desired, I can zoom in on the graph by clicking and dragging on the slider bars on each axis as shown. Lastly, the capability exists within the history analysis tool to overlay data. If I'd like to compare this data with data from a second vehicle, I can do so by selecting File, Open Data File, and select the desired .emphat file. I'll click Open. I'll select both system controller and component controller data. And navigating back to engine coolant temperature, I now have data from my first vehicle in red and data from the new vehicle in blue. If desired, I could repeat this process to compare many vehicles from a fleet. Please keep in mind what you have selected on the y-axis. The vehicles I am comparing will likely have different amounts of hours on the controller, so comparing the data in percentage of operation versus hours will make more sense. If you have any questions, please contact service at emp-corp.com.